A lot happening on Avalanche this weekend. Today we're going to break it down for you guys. Don't miss this one. It's an important one. My name is Paul Bear. Welcome back into Tech Path. Before we get started, I want to thank our sponsor, and that is LuxAlgo. You guys have probably seen that we're starting to use some of these tools, and towards the end of the show today, I may actually go in and show you some of the indicators, but this is the #1 provider of trading indicators, pretty much worldwide now. They use an AI solution for turning some confusion into clarity. There's some pretty cool indicators within the indices that we use, and you guys can use them as well. All you have to do is click the link down below, join in, and you can kind of pair this up to what we're doing even in our market sentiment index. And I'll show you some videos on that in the coming videos. So be on the lookout for all that good stuff. Let's take a look at what's happening with Avalanche. All right, so we started off with the max TPS observed, which is pretty impressive. At the same time, massive situations here in terms of daily transaction count. So this did affect the price, especially around transactions, and we'll show you some of that. And I think when you look at this, the fact that it did hold, that's the positive point. Now, when we look at this kind of scenario that is playing out within these chains, the question is going to be, can this hold in the future? So here's some of the stats on the network right now. These are all subnets. This is the main net, of course. So 300,000 versus what you saw there on the rest of the data. But that kind of gives you a little bit of an insight to it. So the Avalanche spike was due to these inscriptions, but there were other chains that were affected by this as well. Arkham kind of reported this on Arbitrum sequencer, which also went down last week. And there's many more, and I'll show you some of these as well. So maybe it's a good stress test overall on blockchains. If you look at some of these that were affected, you've got TON, Arbitrum, zkSync also stopped processing blocks an hour ago. So all of this is being hit, and I think this is the factor that you do have to consider when really looking at blockchain. I know a lot of this is more of, I don't want to say sweaty nerve, but these are the core elements that you need in place to really run a blockchain. First, be able to perform the block. 2, handle large TPS, and if you are going to get flexed out on things like inscriptions, to be able to do it. Now, that's where Avalanche did do a good job overall. Within that, though, you've got to look at other chains that maybe didn't do as good. Here's Zilliqa coming in, and this wasn't inscription based. This was just simply them putting out a statement. Here's, we're writing to inform you a critical situation currently impacting the blockchain. They also ran into technical issues. So we're starting to see a lot more situations that are applying into this new technology. And I think this is the question that everybody has to ask is this ready for mainstream? Are we in a position where a lot of these chains can handle true mainstream adoption? Now, granted, mainstream adoption will grow over time, and with that, so will the technology. So I think that is at least the one, advantage you could consider. If you go over to Dune, you can kind of see some of the gas fees here on ETH, and then you'll notice right here, I don't know if I can zoom in on that for you guys a little bit, but right there's Avalanche in the green, almost matching it. So that, another one. People don't like fees. So for the fact that we've seen this kind of movement here with inscriptions, this is something that's going to have to be resolved at some point down the road. And I think this is a scenario that has to play out into a positive nature for a lot of these chains. Further into a couple of the tweets here, just to show you the gas fees. Network busy. You can see the gas fees here, not good. Max fee right there compared to the movement. I think this is another situation. Right here's top 25 projects in the blockchain, all based on daily cumulative fees. The good thing here, I guess, is that Avalanche actually has some profitability now. I mean, you've got ETH pretty much being the most profitable in terms of L1s, but Avalanche right now on its heels with, again, because of this situation that happened over the weekend. So that is kind of the news here. Other things here, of course, is the Avalanche CEO, because of its dual chain design, Dexalot is able to now trade C-chain assets securely, no matter. So mainly what they were trying to do is divert some of the transactions over to things like Dexalot where, low costs would be applied. Not that you can really do that, but the point is that there is an alternative. So I think that is another point that you have to make up and understand. That's why subnets have been so popular. So it's one to keep a very close eye on for sure. Comparison of the transaction speed of, this is a good one because this shows you the variation between subnets and C-chain. Let me play this video for you. So what you see right here is the C-chain, and what they're doing is just general transactions within Krabata here. But the point is that you can see over on the right-hand side, the subnet, much faster, much more efficient. That's the whole beauty of the subnet architecture. And I think that's the advantage of what Avalanche is bringing. Remember, subnets being able to, almost like your own personal blockchain for a variety of things. Tokenized security is typically one of them. Onyx, example, JP Morgan writing on that. So within this, there's some other things waiting in the wings, and this is one of them, Pulsar. This is built on Avalanche. Also, right now, it's not completely launched, but it's in a stage right now that's causing, again, more large transaction counts. All right, so just to give an example, this is Pulsar right here on the subnet. And you'll see right here, 1.4 million transactions right there. So again, this was on December 17th. This is all queuing up, and this one has not been launched yet. So this is one to watch within the Avalanche ecosystem for sure. The other thing that you want to kind of look at here, and the reason that's important is because Pulsar is taking up about half of the overall subnet transactions. So 80,000, almost 2/3 actually of the subnet transactions. That is intriguing. And I guess the question would be, do you look at Avalanche as just, this is a stress test that's underway right now? And is it one that could cause Avalanche to possibly run into these gas fee situations, much like what Ethereum has faced over time? That'll be the big question mark going forward. All right, so to take a look at other chains and similarities that would apply to projects like Pulsar, here's Solana, 92 million in terms of transaction right there, if you guys can see that. And then if you go over to Star Atlas, 12 million of that, 13 million of that was Star Atlas. So there is some similarities between what's happening on the Solana ecosystem to what could be going to happen within the Avalanche ecosystem around these two games. So could Pulsar be one of the next ones to watch? Further into looking at inscriptions, total inscriptions on Solana exceeded 1 million. So no problem there. Solana, again, continues to be very low cost. Other things that play into this right here, and I think this is important, is that Polygon is also trying to take a look at this. So here's Sandeep talking about the POS chain handling inscriptions like a champ. So, okay, that's good. But remember, yes, they won, but there was also a problem within ZK Sync. So there are issues there as well. So on to another chart that Sandeep was hitting on is showing just the inscription stats here. Obviously, Polygon was the most affected there with 161 million inscriptions. Avalanche right behind it, along with BNB. But you can kind of see some of the others down there, including Arbitrum that was hit, Genosis, etc., many of which had problems. So this is interesting because you've got Avalanche, Polygon, both doing fairly well on this stress test, but again, fees are the big issue with Avalanche. So that in itself is going to be a problem. All right, so here was the ZK Sync chart right here, just to show the number of transactions that caused the problem. So you see almost 14,000 failed transactions there. So that was the issue that was dealt with. Now, Polygon could be in the cycle of possibly doing something interesting, and that would really kind of apply to SuperNet. So if you guys haven't been watching the Polygon projects, start keeping an eye on it because there could be some key things that start to resolve here. Doesn't mean it will, but we're watching it very, very close. All right, on to more. Well, here's the ZK Sync developers kind of talking about this. Actively monitoring high bursts of transactions, sequencer and provider, etc. So they were kind of just coming on and saying, hey, just follow us. We'll keep you updated on what's going on. And then don't forget that all of this was happening over on Dexalot, of where Aman, which is the CEO of Avalanche, was trying to redirect audience to in terms of being able to do low-cost transactions. So if you haven't followed Dexalot, you guys can, of course, go over there and kind of learn a little bit more about that. And remember, Kakinu was the new token for Avalanche that was being traded over, now swapped over on Dexalot. I know this gets confusing. The point is that you've got three major chains here that are dealing with transaction stress: Solana, Avalanche, and even Polygon. all of them are on the edge of possibly breaking into some new technology advancements that could solve this. Because remember, scalability is the real solution that everybody has to be dealing with. And until they can truly get to massive scale, none of these blockchains will work when you consider things that are happening within Web 2. That's the challenge that all of this kind of paints out. So you just have to be aware of this as you guys are going out in some of these projects. Keep your eyes open. Always be on the lookout for what's happening. Keep your eyes close to whether it's Twitter, our show, or others that are helping you guys kind of get your head around some of this stuff. All right. If you're not part of our Diamond Circle, that's another place, is get in now. It's a great place to get additional content. We do more podcasts over there for you. So check that out there. Of course, you can click the link down below. If you guys want to catch me on X, it's @PaulBaron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.